All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Live from the studios of WIUR at the La Penta Student Union at Iona University. This is Ball Knowers, a show where two guys know ball and talk about it. With me is Luke Dolan.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm Cameron Woolley. So, obviously, the major headliner for us, or at least for us personally, is that hockey. It's back.
Season is here. Thank God we don't have to watch football.
Yeah, football's not the only thing we got.
We got a long hockey season. And it's good we don't have to watch the Giants masquerade as an NFL team as seriously
thank
anymore.
God. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, Sunday night they did put up a solid effort. It was respectable. I thought they were going to get blown out by at least 30.
This just proves more to my belief. Like the Bills are just a pretender. They're not a serious team.
That game made me lose faith in the
team.
Bills as a legit Super Bowl contender. Because if you let the Giants
stick around,
if you let the New York Football Giants take you down in the last play, you don't deserve to be taken seriously as a real football team. Because the New York Giants are not a real football team. They don't exist. They don't exist. That's not an NFL team, or at least no NFL team should be playing like the way they have. And the Giants took the Bills down to the last play, and the Bills needed the refs' help to win that game.
Yes. But the cowards didn't want to throw a flag on a second consecutive play. That's what happened.
They didn't want to throw two straight PIs. And that was two penalties in one. Off the snap, Darren Waller had his jersey yanked at.
Last time I checked, that's pass interference.
Yeah, or holding, defensive holding at the very least.
It's just nuts. That you were okay with calling it the play before, but why didn't you call it on the second play, the final play? Why? It's just that's the definition of ref ball right there.
Like, well, we don't want to call it again.
No, you just don't want to be cowards. You're just being coward at that point, actually. It's just nuts that they get paid to make wrong choices. I want that career. I could say the same thing for referees in hockey.
Oh boy, here we go.
Kelly Sutherland is one of the worst referees I've ever seen. And the food for thought.
In case, for those who are wondering, Kelly Sutherland is an NHL official.
Yeah, which is the problem. I know his name. That is the problem right there.
Yeah, I do. Whenever somebody knows an official's name in any sport, it's bad. It's like Angel Hernandez. Nobody likes him. The only good official whose name I know is Pat Hobert.
Yes, he called the perfect game. Of calling of the strike zone in the World Series last year. Or wait, was it Pat Hobert?
Yeah, Pat.
Okay, yeah, it was him.
Pat Hobert.
But Kelly Sutherland decided that he was he's a part of the scheme. The NHL has to maybe get some life out of the Coyotes and play defense for them against Artemi Panarin, and then immediately after gives the Coyotes a 5-on-3 man advantage for a full 2 minutes, and then the Rangers overcame the BS of the referees and won.
The Rangers won the game you're talking about, by the way.
Yes.
The Devils got jobbed by the refs a couple nights ago too. They were playing the Florida Panthers. Now, I'm not blaming the refs completely for this loss because the Devils played horribly in this game, and I'm very disappointed with the way they've started out. They've started out looking flat. They've started out every single first period they've played in, they have gotten outshot by every single first period they've gotten outshot. And then the first 10 minutes, they've gotten absolutely just skated into the ground, which is concerning for a team who is built on their speed and their skating ability. But this penalty, or the lack thereof, the Devils were down 4-0 in the third period. They scored a couple to get back, and then on a 6-on-4 power play, they score with around 2 minutes and change to go to make it 4-3, and everyone's going crazy. Everyone at the Rock is losing it. because this is a team we're excited for. This is a team we've been waiting to see wake up, and they did. They woke up to go back and bring in with them one. And then Dawson Mercer on a zone entry, he gets tripped.
And no call.
He gets tripped. A Florida Panther defender. Don't remember.
Was it Ekman Larson?
Don't remember the guy's name. But he swung his stick. I think he was trying to play the puck. At least I hope he was trying to play the puck. And his stick caught Dawson Mercer's shin, and Dawson Mercer fell down as a result of that. Now in hockey, we call that a trip.
Yes.
But
or I've seen penalties called that are legit called attempt to trip. Doesn't trip a player, but he definitely attempted to trip, which is apparently the same thing. But continue with your point.
So Mercer got tripped, wasn't called. It would have given the Devils a 6-on-4 power play for a full 2 minutes, which I'm sure they would have scored on. 2-man advantage, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier,
a good chance of scoring.
Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton. Yeah, they probably score there. They've got enough offensive talent and firepower. Tyler Toffoli too. But they can move the puck around and generate enough chances. Even though Sergei Bobrovsky played a great game on Monday night, not trying to take anything away from him. Bobrovsky showed up and he played great. But if 6-on-4 power play for 2 minutes, the Devils tie that game. Now, overtime, who knows what happens there? But the Devils are also a really good overtime team. So maybe they win. Shootout, the Devils lose. But
that's that. I've got to say, though.
But again, if you don't want to end up in that situation, don't fall behind 4-0 going into the third period.
That's not a good recipe for success.
Maybe don't spend 45 minutes meandering around and doing absolutely nothing, and then jump starting your team with 15 minutes left to go in the game to score 4 goals. But eventually, when you play good teams like the Florida Panthers, who, by the way, made it to the Stanley Cup final last year, a lot of people are forgetting already. And
they won the President's Trophy 2 years ago.
The President's Trophy. I don't want to win the President's Trophy.
Yeah, I know. But that's still that should discredit discount how good they've been the last couple of years.
Yeah, and when you play teams like that, you can't start bad. And I've gotten a lot of grief from a lot of Devils fans for even being skeptical, for even questioning and being concerned. Because this is a team going in. I've never been more excited about any team ever going into a season. I looked at this Devils team top to bottom. The best team I've ever rooted for on paper. On paper, this team does not have a lot of flaws. And if any, they're not even like flaws. They're just the weakest points of the team.
Yeah.
There are a couple of question marks, but other than that, I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is a great team. And going in and then the opener, they went down against Detroit. They had to play from behind. Again, a very bad start in the first period. Then they found their legs. They ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
Came to against Arizona. Started horribly. Fell back to 0. Came back to go up 3-2. And then they lost in a shootout.
This awfully sounds a lot like the Rangers last year. With horrible starts to games.
Well, yeah. You can't
expect to play. You can't expect to win games when you're playing horrible and giving up so many goals quickly at the beginning games and playing behind constantly.
Yeah, playing from behind is not a good record. Now, granted, the Devils last year were one of the best teams in the league at playing from behind. It's like even when they'd go down 2-0, I wouldn't be concerned.
They're not out of it.
I'm like, oh, yeah. Lindy Ruff will juggle the lines and it'll somehow work. Because the team is just so freakishly talented and a lot of players know how to play with each other. Except for some reason, Nico Hischier and Timo Meier don't really know how to play with each other.
How?
I don't know how. Whenever they're on the same line, they don't look that great. You'd think. Two fellow countrymen, they're Swiss.
That seems like a match made in heaven right there.
Oh, yeah.
Which is surprising.
And now that they're juggling up the lines, they got Meier with Hughes and Mercer, which was one of the lines in the playoffs. That ended up working reasonably well. But the problem is Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt also work really well together. Although Jesper Bratt works really well with anyone. He's still, to this day, one of the more underrated players in the league.
Yeah, I would agree.
He should be and he's getting recognition now. A lot of players on the Devils are getting recognition. I mean, you win 52 games, win a playoff series, you're put on the national spotlight for multiple weeks. Yeah, of course you're going to be recognized, but Jesper Bratt still doesn't get enough credit for elevating players the way he does.
I would agree. He is a good player. He's a really good player. I want to talk about the Rangers.
Yeah. Sure, we can talk Rangers. I mean, we're in New York after all.
So I gotta say, I know they're 2-1 to start the season, but I really liked how they played in all 3 of those games. I really did, and I gotta say, it shouldn't take a genius to realize maybe you should put your young, highly drafted players into prominent roles in your team. Just a thought. And they're finally doing it, and they're playing some of the best I've seen them play in the last couple of years. And it's making me realize the Rangers just didn't have a coach last year, and Gerard Gallant. He was not a head coach. He was just some guy in a suit who showed up and was given a check to be titled head coach, but he wasn't actually a coach. Peter Laviolette has shown up. He actually instilled like actual in-game lineup and adjustments and stuff. Adam Fox, Artemi Panarin, Alexei Lafreniere, and Filipino in the last 2 years have played a total of 2 minutes and 27 seconds together of 5-on-5 time. They have far surpassed that this year already, and it's shown in the scored sheets and advanced numbers. They have been excellent. They have been cooking with gasoline. That's how good they've been, and it's making me wonder why. It just makes me upset of how much of a blown opportunity the last 2 years with Gerard Gallant were, in hindsight, that he couldn't figure it out.
I mean, you guys didn't start hating Gallant until last year, or like the playoffs last year, even.
I guess, yeah. 2022 was a bit of like found
admiration.
Money. Was admiration. It was like found money. We were just here for the ride, but then and then he started like getting a bit too the guy. And I noticed from like one of the press conferences that Randy Trocheck, what play on the Rangers, gave like in training camp. He said like something scathing about. He said something that was like a negative to Gallant, even though because the Gallant was insurmountable in getting him to the Rangers in the first place. Was one of the main people who wanted Trocheck on the Rangers. When the guy who brought you in, when you're talking crap about a guy who brought you in to the team, I think that says a lot about the guy, about the head coach. And it's just the top 6. They're putting Fox and Panarin more out on the same time when on 5-on-5, rather than just only on the power play. And they're playing Trouba, defenseman, with the first line, or when the first line offensive unit's out there, which is good because Trouba, he likes to shoot the puck. He really likes to shoot the puck. He's not good at getting
among other things that he likes to do.
But you know who's good at directing shots on net?
Christopher
Kreider.
Oh,
don't that seems like a natural fit right there. Curious why that didn't happen as much last year. And it's just they're playing the way it's just so refreshing to see an actual head coach behind the bench, and Peter Laviolette. And I think I might I might change my tune on those words. I think I have a good feeling I might change my tone if it goes any longer. But I'm having a good time. They're actually playing well. Going into the season, I was so skeptical of not as like convinced with like some of the charts that were saying that the Rangers were going to be one of the better teams this year. I was not fully convinced, or I was tempering expectations. But then when they go into Buffalo and crush the Sabres 5-1, and the way they did, I was just like, wait, are we actually good?
Huh? I mean, it's a long season, obviously.
I know, but I'm excited to say the least because I feel like this and Peter Laviolette, the first coach I've seen in my Rangers fandom who's willing to like rotate guys in and out of the lineup, no matter what they did the night before. He's done it already 3 games in, and honestly, that's such a breath of fresh air. Instead of being stubbornly trying to make sure things work, he's actually making some changes. Like if so early on, I'm blown away.
I was so mad when I found out that the Rangers hired Peter Laviolette because I'm a huge Devils fan.
Which is crazy because
I loved Gerard Gallant because he constantly kept the young guys at the bottom of the lineup. Yes. And it fed into the Devils fan narrative that the young guys were terrible players.
And you know what? The one time he jokingly put Kakko and Lafreniere with Mika Zibanejad, they save his job. And he did it basically as a joke. And they actually legit save his job.
Wait, when was this?
This is like last year, like December or January. Like there was a feeling that they could fire Gallant, and then he does like, look, I'll just put this combination.
I was like, fine, you want to see the young guys play with the manager? Yeah, here you go.
And then, wait, they saved my job. Cool. Let me just not do that again then.
And then he reassembles the midline for the playoffs.
Everyone was mid on that series.
Oh, dude, that game that I'm sorry, I have to bring up that game 7 again. That like you want to talk about mid, dude? They weren't even mid.
They were in the ground. They were in the negative numbers, and somehow even beyond. They were at rock bottom. They found a way to go lower than rock bottom. That was like the worst. Game 7 is one of the worst. The Game 7s from last year was one of the worst performances I've seen out of a team ever. Besides Game 7 of the 2015 Conference Finals against Tampa Bay, that was worse.
Well, even then, you kept that game close.
Yeah, but it was.
I mean, well, Hank, but
as soon as the Rangers went down, they were never going to get it back. They were never in that game. No matter what the score says, they were not in that game. And part of that was due because Zuccarello got injured. He had a scary injury with
that's right. Matt Zuccarello got hurt.
That dude was the heart and soul of like those Rangers teams.
Even as a Devils fan, I didn't start hating the Rangers until the Hughes Kakko thing.
I mean, I can see that.
I had a lot of nostalgia. I even rooted for some of those Ranger teams growing up, which makes me sick to say now. But I mean, back then, dude, I loved Henrik Lundqvist, like Derek Stepan, Ryan Callahan, Ryan McDonough. When Martin St. Louis was on that team, dude. That was a fun team to watch, dude. Dan Girardi. Yeah, those were fun teams to watch. There are a lot of memories that I have watching that Ranger team.
It's just they were such a good like balance of lines, though they couldn't really get
Carl Hagelin too.
Carl Hagelin, Kevin Hayes.
Oh, that's right. Kevin Hayes was on that
Miller.
Team. Oh, JT Miller was a little bit like at the tail end of that though.
Yeah, and so was kind of Kevin Hayes as well.
Like I'm talking about the Cup final.
The Cup
team.
Oh, JT Miller was with I think up and down with the Rangers that year every so often.
I didn't know JT Miller's name until 2016. So
yeah, well, I think he started emerging a bit more then. But you had like guys like Dominic Moore. You will never hear a Ranger fan say a bad thing about Dominic Moore.
Oh yeah.
And we had Brian Boyle. Love Brian Boyle, though he could never.
I remember his Devils days, dude. Brian Boyle every time because like Well, his story is super endearing because when he signed with the Devils, he had leukemia over the offseason, and then he came back, and I remember every single Hockey Fights cancer night, the guy popped off.
He would
whether it was at the Rock or it was anywhere else. I remember the second year that Boyle was a Devil, there was a road game in Pittsburgh. Their Hockey Fights cancer night, and he scored a hat trick. Now, I remember in Brian Boyle's like first game with the Devils, where everyone was like super stoked on him. He scored a goal, and it was so emotional. And at the first Hockey Fights cancer night at the Rock, he scored a goal. It was the game winner against the Canucks, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Brian Boyle."
Yeah, I always love Brian Boyle. The one critique that I have about when he was a Ranger, he just never really knew how to use his size. But other than that, I like Brian Boyle. Really like Brian Boyle.
Also, at a Devils game I went to in 2018, he fought Tom Wilson and did not do a horrible job. Sure, he got beat.
He's 6'8". Dude, I met Brian Boyle in person. He is a tall human being. He is very tall. Isn't
he like 6'4" or
no? He's like 6'7". Hold on, no. I got it.
You're googling it.
I'm going to. He is a tall human being, and I will not. And I will be. I gotta see. I know I'm right here. Brian Boyle. He is. What is? Yeah, he's 6'7". Yeah, he is 6'7". Anyways,
yeah, I do remember him being really tall.
And I know it's only 3 games, and it's a lot to overreact to, but the Rangers can keep, and can keep up like this type of play for the majority of the season. I have no complaints with the team. It's about winning, making the playoffs, and winning in the playoffs. That's the main goal here.
I mean, for both of our teams, the goal is to
make the playoffs.
The goal is to make the playoffs, but win in them.
We can make it to June.
And to beat the other team. Like, I'm sure, like, one of the Devils' main adversaries in the playoffs is the Rangers, even though they beat them last year. It's still like the Rangers are a team that we circle. And it's always like, oh, Rangers, oh, that's a big one. Oh, boy.
Even now, like, the main test, though, will be for the Rangers is how they match up against teams like the Devils or the Hurricanes or the Penguins.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Penguins, I'm not crazy about them this year.
I'm not.
I know you have the childhood trauma with Sidney Crosby and Geno Malkin and Letang and Fleury and all that.
But the Rangers have like beaten the Penguins like several times in like my lifetime of being a fan.
The Devils and Penguins never play each other in the playoffs. They've made the playoffs in the same year, but they've never played.
Never played.
I was like several times. Like Sid's early career, the Devils were still really good and making the playoffs constantly. In 2012, if the Penguins beat the Flyers in round one, they would have.
That was the most insane series. Like, I think in like hockey history. That was one of the most like.
The Flyers won that series in 5.
No, they won it in 6, I think.
I thought it was in 5. I know there was a game where the Penguins scored 10 goals.
There was, I really think it was fights and minimal goaltending, the whole series from both sides.
Well, I remember in like the first game of that series, within the first 5 seconds, Crosby was dropped to the ground
by Giroux.
Oh yeah, Claude Giroux dropped Sidney Crosby, and it made Wells Fargo go absolutely wild.
They hate that man.
Oh no! Like, I view Sidney Crosby and the Penguins as like sort of like an enemy of my enemy type deal, because the Flyers hate Sidney Crosby
with a passion.
I mean, and they
hate him. He is on Cowboys level of hate, I would say.
Yeah, there is only one entity or one thing that Philadelphia hates close to the level of the Cowboys.
It is Sidney Crosby.
And that's Sidney Crosby. Like, it's Sidney Crosby, probably like Clubber Lang, and and the Cowboys. Those are the three things that Philadelphia hates.
Yep. But yeah, I kind of sympathize with the Flyers and hating Crosby for Mouse.
I mean, yeah, but that as a Devils fan, even though Sidney Crosby has like the most career points out of anyone against the Devils, I don't hate him. I don't hate him because he takes care of the, like, he's like a spider. Like, you don't like him, but it's pest control. He takes care. Like, he is a major reason why the Flyers never won a Stanley Cup with Claude Giroux and Jacob Voracek and
even though
all those guys.
They've only played each other like 2 times in like that span.
Yeah, and the Penguins took care of them.
No, well, the Flyers beat the Penguins.
Oh yeah. The Flyers beat the Pens in 2012.
And then they lost to the Devils.
They lost to the Devils in 5. That was a gentleman's sweep. The Flyers beat the Devils in game 1 in overtime. Danny Briere scored twice in overtime, but the first time it was waved off, and then he scored again like 30 seconds later. And then the Devils handily beat the Flyers in game 2. Game 3, the Devils went down 2-0, but came back to win 4-2. And then game 4, Devils won in overtime. Alexei Ponikarovsky scored one of the cooler overtime goals I've seen.
And
then game 5, the Devils took care of them.
Yeah, I remember they dominated them.
That was such a random good team. It's like the Ilya Kovalchuk. That was like Elias was old, but he was still playing really well. Yeah, Parise, the Adam Henriquez rookie year. Bryce Salvador was like the top defenseman. The Bryce Salvador was really good, and like, I know you never watched the Devils broadcast, but he is an amazing analyst. Like, he's between the benches, he's doing the intermissions with Eric Wachter.
I believe you.
Oh no, he like knows all the advanced numbers. He's a scholar of the game. Like, Bryce Salvador, if Lindy Ruff is fired as a head coach, I think Bryce Salvador would do a really good job as a head coach.
You know who would also do a good job? Gerard Gallant.
No. I do not want Gerard Gallant as the Devils head coach.
What do you mean? He brought the Rangers to the conference finals in his first year.
On the back of Igor Shesterkin.
What, is Vanacek not up to snuff?
No, really, Vitek Vanacek isn't as good as Igor Shesterkin.
I don't know. That's what some Devils fans I've seen say.
No, okay, well, they're morons. They're morons. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to them. Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm just. It's great to have hockey back.
I'm gonna pose. Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah. I.
Rangers got their next game against Nashville. The Devils are playing on Friday. You said.
Yeah, the Devils are playing
the Islanders.
Yeah, they play the Islanders on Friday.
That's right.
So Devils have quite a bit of a break.
You know, that's it. You know, you need to. The Islanders and Devils need to get matched up in a playoff series for once.
I kind of don't want to see that because the Islanders match up really well with the Devils. Like, for some reason, the Islanders play as well.
Well, I just personally want that to happen so that way the two teams and fan bases can hate each other for a change.
Instead of just be like, yeah, we
instead of being the little brother syndrome of the Rangers.
Oh yeah, little bro. What do you mean, little brother? Do you want to run back do you want to rehash the playoff series from this year?
Oh, what, you're gonna celebrate in the parking lot?
The park, okay.
The American Dream parking lot.
Okay. Those are some. If the Devils were to win the Stanley Cup this year, I think they'd have the parade in like Hoboken or Jersey City, which are awesome towns, by the way. Like, Hoboken is such a fun place. And I'm sure if the Devils won the Stanley Cup, they do the parade in Hoboken, and it would be nuts. It would be wild, man. Everyone would be. Also, not to mention Jack Hughes in a parade. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, dude, that it's not the Canyon of Heroes, but
I want to be part of the Canyon Heroes parade if they ever come back. The New York. Remember when we fought New York sports were kind of back, like in the spring. like last.
And then the Yankees fell apart. The Mets fell apart. The
Jets and Giants got off to terrible starts.
The Jets. Okay, hold on. Okay.
The Rangers and Islanders were both beaten in the first round.
The Devils, I don't know what the Devils are in terms of, like, they're technically part of the metropolitan area.
They technically are.
I mean, the Giants and Jets also play in Jersey, but they're under the New York name.
That's because of a James Dolan.
Partially.
Yeah,
that's because James. Also, a football field would never fit in the Garden.
Yeah, well, he wanted have some say in, like, he kind of controls, like, the area that they wanted to put in the area of the stadium they wanted to put
also like there was a, like, I remember Ed Koch, who was a mayor of New York, like, back in the 80s. He didn't really like the Giants that much. I remember, like, when the Giants won the Super Bowl, Ed Koch, like, didn't want them to have the parade in the Canyon of Heroes because they didn't play in New York.
I mean, it says New York on.
I don't know. Like, where do you think it's easier to build an NFL stadium? Manhattan or a swamp?
I mean,
you're gonna choose the swamp.
But they had plans to build the Justice Stadium at West Side, like, years ago when there was legit like planning and, like, renders for, like, the Olympics when the U.S. had a bid for the Olympics.
Wait, when was this?
It was, like, late 2000s.
Oh, before MetLife.
Before MetLife, the Jets were gonna have a stadium at West Side. It's nuts. Yeah, they.
I gotta Google this.
Yeah, you gotta Google. It's, like, legit. They had it was, like, an actual thing before the Olympics went to, like, London. But and then the Jets decided to, like, just stay in New Jersey with the Giants.
Oh, wow!
Yes.
It was going to be built right on the Hudson.
Yes. When I'm driving through Ranger games, I go by where that area.
What did they end up building here?
I don't know, actually. Not a stadium.
So, like, is this where Hudson Yards is at now, or?
I think it might be, yeah. Although the Rangers.
Hudson Yards is not that close to the Empire State Building.
I gotta figure out what the exact location is, but the MSG might be looking to build a new building soon, though. So they might need.
Dude, there were articles. They were rolling out press releases.
Yes, they were. It was insane. And
wow, dude, this one the design is a little weird looking.
It is. But, like, that is just one of the crazier what ifs. Like, if that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Traffic would have been a nightmare.
Oh, my. Yeah. That's probably why it didn't go through. Because how would you park?
I think they were going to also have, like, mass transit there, too. Like, subways and whatnot there, too. I think that's part of with the appeal also. They had, like, the mass transit.
Like, the New York subway system isn't already overcrowded.
Yeah. But, it's fast. I wrote a paper about, like, stadiums in New York.
Oh, really?
Architecture. Like, the Brooklyn Dodgers wanted to put their stadium where the Barclays Center is right now, basically.
Oh, really?
But Robert Moses.
Oh boy! Here we go.
He wanted to put
this guy's got opinions on Robert Moses.
I don't think I can share them on live. But Mario Moses wanted to put a stadium in Queens, but Branch Rickey O'Malley wanted. It was like, we're called the Brooklyn Dodgers.
We're called Brooklyn. We're not going
to Queens. So then they found land in Chavez Ravine in LA, and then they went there. And then
the rest is history.
And then Robert Moses did have a baseball stadium built in Queens for the New York Mets. So yeah,
because no Giant or a Dodger fan in New York in their right mind was going to root for the Yankees.
No,
they hated. Like
oh my God,
they vowed to hate the Yankees.
Yes,
for the rest of their existence. Like, even if there was no other team that ever show up
besides hating each other, they hate the Yankees.
And then they had to join forces for the Mets.
Yep. And it's why it's in Citi Field, the rotunda at Citi Field is built in the image of Ebbets Field. Because Fred Wilpon is a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and yeah, it's a stark difference between different owners of my lifetime of Mets fandom. Whereas Fred Wilpon was the Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and Steve Cohen is a Mets fan.
Oh yeah,
was a Mets fan. But anyways, the Jets traded Nicole Hardman to the Chiefs. Nicole Hardman to the Chiefs.
So Nicole Hardman's back on the Chiefs.
Yes.
How about that?
Breaking news.
That's cool.
But yeah, there's also something I've noticed too, about for the NHL. People are getting sick, like legit just getting sick during the middle of games, like the players. It's just I've been noticing a lot in fantasy hockey recently with some of my players. Like, why is everyone getting sick?
I went camping this weekend. I was out in the woods for 2 days, and I kind of came down with a little case of the suds.
Oh boy. Anyway,
that's what I call whenever I get like a random cold.
You call the suds like your SpongeBob.
That like isn't enough. Like, it's not enough to keep me out of class. Like, it's not enough to knock me out of commission.
That was me like a couple weeks ago.
I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I got the suds.
She straight out of SpongeBob.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I call them whenever I like get kind of sick. I'm like, yeah.
Never pass up a SpongeBob quote.
Oh no. SpongeBob reference? Oh, people from our generation? No. We can rip those back and forth.
It could be a whole episode.
Hours. Oh my god, yeah.
Hours. But also baseball is happening, and
dude, the Phillies playoff run makes me so mad.
It makes me mad too.
Well, it makes us mad for different reasons, because you're a Mets fan. It makes you mad because you're a Mets fan.
No, I gotta say, my one hope of having neither Max Scherzer or Justin Verlander winning a World Series after being traded from the Mets is gonna be relying on the freaking Phillies, and I want to do unspeakable things right now. I'm so mad. I need the Diamondbacks to wake up. I need them to wake up. I can't have the Phillies being that
being your last batch.
My last batch.
Your last batch. You already had to root for the Phillies once in the playoffs.
Yes, and that was one too many.
But yeah, that's enough for one lifetime rooting for a team from Philadelphia.
Yes.
Like the Phillies, I don't mind the Phillies like as a team, because like I'm a Yankee fan. They're in the National League.
Yes.
The only time we ever crossed each other in the playoffs was during the 2009 World Series, and we took care of them. But like, the reason why the Phillies playoff run makes me so mad is three people: Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Brian Cashman. And it's because Brian Cashman, with Bryce Harper practically on his knees begging
for a contract
to be a Yankee. Begging to be a Yankee. He was going to switch positions completely. Outfielder his whole career, he's saying, you know what, I'll switch to first base to be a New York Yankee.
We got
Brian Cashman said, nope, we have Aaron Hicks and Clint Frazier.
What about Greg Bird, the first baseman, Greg Bird?
And we have Greg Bird.
And Miguel Andujar.
Yeah. We don't need you. We don't need Bryce Harper. And I'm mad that they didn't pick up Kyle Schwarber, because
he's like made for Yankee Stadium.
Dude, left-handed power, he pulls. All he does is pull the base. He hits the ball hard and he pulls it. He gets on base. He hits for low average, so Cashman's obviously going to be all over. It seemed like a perfect fit
for low average.
It seemed like a perfect fit, and he didn't go after him. Although he hits too well in the playoffs.
He also wouldn't be playing the Mets as frequently. He hits.
I think he'd be playing the Mets a couple times a year.
It would be. And that's where you would bet everything on him hitting a home run in every game of the series.
I mean, the Yankees also got Giancarlo Stanton,
to do that for him.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why the Yankees didn't go after either of those guys is because of Giancarlo Stanton.
Ooh.
Although I'm not going to fault them. I'm not going to fault Cashman for the Stanton deal because
he won the MVP.
Anybody would have made that deal at the time. Every Yankee fan, I do not care.
They would have made.
I do not care. There are so many Yankee fans now who are like, no, it's a terrible trade. Should never have. Like, yeah, obviously in hindsight. But at the time, Giancarlo Stanton was coming off hitting 59 home runs, winning an NL MVP. Yeah, you make that deal.
You're only giving up Sterling Castro.
You're giving up Sterling Castro. It's like,
who else did they give up?
They gave up Sterling Castro.
I know that.
Yeah, that's it.
That was it.
They gave up Sterling Castro and Jorge Guzman or something.
Okay, it might as well be nothing.
Yeah, literally, Sterling Castro is the only major league player that was given up.
Derek Jeter was a sleeper agent. That's what it was.
Yeah, Derek Jeter being a sleeper agent. That's what happened there. Although Derek Jeter did make a few good deals as Marlins GM. He got Sandy Alcantara and I think Pablo Lopez. Yeah, I think it was or Sixto Sanchez.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he traded basically all the good.
The Marcelo Zuna trade was immaculate.
That was a fleecing
from Derek Jeter.
Bro, I mean, the Marlins did their famous pastime of tearing out a good team.
That team was not good.
I mean, well, giving away all their good players.
Yeah, they traded all their good players, but that was not a good team.
Well, part of that was because I think what happened with Jose Fernandez as part of it in that era.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
Yeah. And I'm just like, on the one hand, I vehemently do not like Max Scherzer, and he's pitching tonight.
Oh yeah.
And I just gotta say, it's probably a series started for the Astros. It's finally started for the Astros tonight. I think
Christian Javier, I trust that guy under the lights.
Yeah, and the guy and his opposition, Max Scherzer, prove he's not made for the lights last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and but honestly, I could, as much as I hate Max Scherzer right now, if DeGrom gets a World Series ring, maybe it's a wash.
Yeah, maybe you can be like, all right.
I will always love DeGrom.
Absolutely, I mean, as a Met fan,
no, you don't really feel the same way about Jordan Montgomery.
Well, Jordan Montgomery, it's not him. I'm just mad at Brian Cashman. But although I know if Jordan Montgomery was a Yankee, he would have gotten destroyed.
Oh, and Aroldis Chapman.
Oh yeah, Aroldis Chapman. Oh wait, that's right.
You gotta.
Yeah, I'm seeing the moral conundrum that you're trying to put me into. Oh, do I root for the Houston Astros, or do I root for Aroldis Chapman to have a chance at getting another World Series ring? I didn't hate Chapman in 2016. I hate Chapman after
2016.
No, I hate him. I hate Aroldis Chapman. Even when he was a Yankee, I hated him. Like years ago, I started hating him. I have been an Aroldis Chapman hater. I've been a card-carrying Aroldis Chapman hater for years.
I have to say, every time, like, there was a stretch where I would just watch Aroldis Chapman pitch. It started with the Game 7 of the 2016 World Series. Anytime I would see him appearance, he would give up a bomb to tie the game or to lead. Give up the lead or tie the game. And
he also never threw strikes. Like, his command was awful. No, whenever I'd watch, dude, Chapman gave me a heart attack every time when he was on the mound because he'd at least throw 3 balls in every single count. He had amazing stuff. Like, amazing.
Yep. He has the 105-mile-an-hour fastball, but with years.
Even then, like, he still sits around like 99, 101, like in that range.
As a lefty, too.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he's prime. Aroldis Chapman was amazing. Whenever Aroldis Chapman threw strikes, he was unhittable. But the problem was he never threw strikes. He never located it. It was like, dude, you have a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Nobody can hit it.
Why are you going to your slider?
Although his slider was really good.
Yeah.
Because of his fastball. His fastball would set up his slider.
But you still have more. Do you have the access? An extra grind with Aroldis have any further though?
I have too many to count. There are so many bad memories associated with that guy. I mean, the 2019 ALCS is the big one. I mean, you have a 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and you're throwing
Jose Altuve.
a meatball.
So a meatball slider.
A meatball slider to Jose Altuve. If you threw him like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball and he just touched off on it, fine. Which you probably would have done, because the moment Altuve sees the Yankees, he turns into Babe Ruth. Like, he goes ultra instinct whenever he sees the Yankees.
Is this? Yeah, it just does it by himself.
Oh yeah, especially in Minute Maid Park. Oh.
Yeah, that was like Chipper Jones for the Mets like for years. I was at his final appearance in Queens.
Let me guess, he had a home run.
No, he didn't. He was in a pitch. He pitched hit and then got a bases free pass, an intentional walk, and then was pulled off in the field. Yeah. And yeah, I was probably too young to understand the significance at the time, but now I'm older and a bit more bitter. I'm like, I hate Larry. Chipper Jones. Larry, I hate him.
He named his kid Shay.
Yes. That's narcissism at its finest.
Like, how petty do you have to be
to
name your kid after a stadium because you own the other team so much?
That's just narcissism and pettiness to a T. And it's just, man, I always think like, who are like some like the biggest villains in like my sports life and for the team?
Oh,
who are some of the biggest villains?
That sounds like a pretty good topic for next time.
That sounds like a good topic for next
time. For next time. All right. So, anyways, this has been Ball Knowers. As always, alongside Luke Dolan, I am Cameron Woolley, wishing you a good rest of your week, and I hope you guys have done well in all your midterms. I know, obviously, it's
I got some midterms tomorrow.
It's midterm season.
Yep.
It's midterm. Yeah, it's midterm season, and I've done reasonably well. Got an 88 on my English. Got a 94 on my comp sci midterm, which I am very happy. I'm very happy with that. I've been putting up good results. So, obviously, everybody wish you all the best of luck on those.
Good luck with midterms.
Good luck with midterms. We'll be back next week, obviously, to talk about more hockey.
Maybe my opinion with Pierre might change. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, our opinions.
Or maybe they just win all the games, the next several games.
Yeah, our opinions change on a dime. So, anyways, make sure to stay tuned. Once again, this has been Ball Knowers. I am Cameron Woolley, signing off.
See you, everyone.